Today I'm excited to share with you a few of my favorite books on yoga and meditation, classic books to really understand the depth of yoga and meditation. So let's jump into it. The first book I want to share is called Autobiography of a Yogi. And first off, this is to get you excited about this book. This is the only book that Steve Jobs had on his iPad. He had one book on his iPad and it was this. And so obviously it must be an exceptional book if that's the one book that Steve Jobs is reading. So what does Steve Jobs have to do with this book? Well, this book is a story of a man named Paramahansa Yogananda who is largely credited with bringing yoga over from India to America. In the 1920s, he had a huge amount of talks in America explaining the depth of yoga practice and ended up founding many yoga centers around the world. Huge following, so really important person in communicating yoga. And the reason that it has a connection with Steve Jobs in my mind is this is his life story, and in his life story there are so many events that to an American would seem impossible. The way that a yogi in India is looking at life is so much different than the life we have in America, and the things that they think are possible, it's just a different set of beliefs. So, but if you think about it, what Steve Jobs did would also be considered impossible. If you went to someone 20 years ago, 100 years ago and said, we're going to be able to send a message to someone around the world instantly, or I can send a video of myself to someone in China in 2 minutes, they would think you're crazy. The things that the iPhone can do, it's truly like an unbelievable improvement in what humanity is able to accomplish. And I think Steve really got a lot of that faith in creating the impossible from the Autobiography of a Yogi. So if you're interested in how powerful yoga can be, how drastically different a deep practice in yoga can create for you, this is a great book to understand the power of yoga. So I highly recommend that. The second book I want to talk about is The Four Noble Truths by the Dalai Lama. This book is also an amazing book to learn about meditation, to learn about yoga, to learn about Buddhism, which are all tied together in various aspects. And he really discusses a lot of the core tenets of Buddhism and what that means is how to create a body and mind that is conducive to meditation. So how do we get rid of the things in life that are getting us agitated and focusing on small dramas instead of connecting with the real, more meaningful purpose in life? So for those of you that aren't into Buddhism, I don't want you to think of this as a book that you can only read if you're religious in Buddhism. This is a book about how to prepare the body and mind for meditation through practical steps. There's systems here of Buddhism that are proven methods to prepare the mind and body for meditation. The third book I want to share is called Light on Pranayama by BKS Iyengar. And BKS Iyengar is another man who is largely credited with bringing yoga to the West. He has his own form of yoga called Iyengar Yoga. And in this book, he's talking about pranayama, which is one of the 8 limbs of yoga. There's 8 parts of yoga, and pranayama, or breath regulation, is one of them. And this is something I think is extremely valuable to bring to the West, because I think in America we largely don't focus on the importance of breath, on the importance of air. Only since COVID has started and now people are thinking about breathing, is it really becoming a topic of conversation. And Deepak Chopra was kind of saying how this virus is a message to humanity, and I think part of that message is we weren't paying enough attention to the breath. So without going into that tangent too much, the importance of the breath, we can live a few days without food, a few weeks without food potentially, a few days without water, but you can only live a few minutes without breath. So breath, or more accurately described in the context of yoga, prana, the life force, is absolutely essential. It's one of the most essential things possible for life. So why are we not studying this and how it works in the body? So pranayama is the art and science of perfecting the body and mind through using the regulation and specific exercises on the breath. And this book is seriously in-depth, expert, master level explanation of the practice. So this is a really intense book. There's a lot of very advanced tactics in here, but I think even just if you don't understand all of them, I don't understand all of them, just reading it from someone who's really a master and has written this much and studied this much about the breath and the body, it's an invaluable perspective to gain, because I didn't realize that it was such a practice to be studied. But once you get into it, you realize this is actually really important. Why are more people doing this? All right, so that's the third book. The fourth book I want to discuss is Kundalini Yoga, and this is more of a practical book to start doing pranayama practices. You have a lot of imagery of poses, explanations of what different practices will do to the body and mind, and it's a little less intimidating or less of a deep read than the Light on Pranayama book. So if you want to just get started and get moving and learn by doing, this is a great book to go with. Although I do think it is important to really study pranayama before you jump into it, because it's a powerful thing and you don't want to take too many missteps. But this book does have instructions on how to perform it correctly as well. And the last book I want to discuss today is called Yoga for Wellness. And this is another practical book to begin doing specific yoga exercises in your life. And this book categorizes yoga exercises by postures and how they affect different systems of the body, the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, the nervous system. So how can you use yoga to improve your health today? This is a good solution. So I hope you found some of those descriptions of books interesting, and as you can see, we have a collection here of yogic philosophy and yogic theory that goes really deep into the spiritual practice of things, and then also more into, with the last two books, more into a daily, how do I bring this practice into my life with concrete steps. So hopefully you're interested in one of these books, and I'm going to put the link below to get any of these books on Amazon so you can get it to your door in 2 days and begin learning more about yoga. So thank you guys so much for tuning into Zafu Meditation. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any ideas on other meditation content you'd like to see us talk about, please leave a comment below and we'll be sure to get on that. Thank you so much and have a good day.